Drug abuse is something that we hear about every day. It could be a friend confiding in you about their own drug use, or of a family member, a friend of theirs that's struggling. It could be a social media post asking for prayers because someone accidentally committed suicide, or with an overdose. We hear news reports all the time of drug crimes that happen in the communities that we live in and that are around us. Just the other day, my family and friends were out at a restaurant. As we were coming out, a young man that looked to be in his early 20s, was obviously homeless and addicted to drugs, stopped me and asked for a cigarette. My husband gave this young man a cigarette and lit it for him, and he walked away just as quickly as he came to us. Later that night, I wished I had not been so caught up in the moment of feeling sorry for the young man and upset that my children saw him that way. I was telling my husband that I wish we had done more. He asked what we could have done. If we had given him money, he would have spent it on drugs. So we had our kids with us, so we didn't know if he was violent or had mental issues, so we didn't know if it was safe to take him anywhere. As I thought through everything my husband said, I knew he was logically right, and agreed and changed the subject. I still think of that man, though. I wondered what this blue-eyed boy with his dirty blonde hair's story was. I tried to envision him young and carefree, without the timid demeanor, the defeated look in his eyes, and the dirt and sores on his hands, face, and feet. What would I want someone to do if that were my child? What would I do if it were my child? Now, we would all like to think that our children would never touch drugs, but having teenagers, I know that's a problem in schools today. So I wanted to find out how much of a drug problem there really is in schools. So I hit the books, and boy, did I find more information than I wanted. Some of it scared me, and some of it gave me hope. The Journal of School Health published an article in 2012 titled "Surveying Teens in School to Assess the Prevalence of Problematic Drug Use." The authors, Russell Flack, Ramsey Nahas, Lena Lee, and Dr. Robert Carlson, reported using a substance abuse screening tool called CRAFT. They found that of the 3,970 11th and 12th grade student participants that they got from 16 high schools throughout the Dayton, Ohio region, more than 1/3 of the students scored having a problematic drug use. Now, I'm terrible at math, so I calculated that for you. Out of 3,970 students, 1,323 reported using illegal drugs. That's a lot. Of the 1,323 drug users, 14% were reported as risk for having drug dependency. Again, I did the math because my brain isn't a calculator. That's 185 11th and 12th grade students that will or won't graduate high school with a drug addiction. So 185 students from 16 high schools, that's approximately 11 students in each graduating year. That's a big deal. You see, when teens choose to do drugs, it's not them saying, "Oh, I want to be an addict, let me have some of that." Teens start drugs because their friends are doing it. They are curious, they're stressed and they want to get mellow, or they're just at a party and it's around, so they say, "Yeah, I'll try some of that." Teens don't think about the fact that with some drugs, all it takes is one time and you're hooked. And if they do think about that possibility, they think, "It won't happen to me. Well, there is proof that it can and will, unfortunately, happen to, if not you, someone that you know. So what happens to teens if they use drugs, other than the common knowledge that they get high and it can kill brain cells? My own personal experience with marijuana, yes, I tried the wacky weed, or pot, whatever you want to call it. I was 16. Let me tell you, this was nothing wonderful. I coughed to the point of almost vomiting and embarrassed myself in front of all of my friends. I never felt high, and on top of all of that, I got grounded. At 16, my car and cell phone were taken. I thought I was going to die. So I never tried smoking pot again. Now, I see some of the smiles. Oh, it kills brain cells. We have millions of brain cells. What's a few of them dead? Natalie McGill reports in her article titled "Annual Survey Shows Many Teens Brush Off Risks of Marijuana Use" that a survey was conducted by Lloyd Johnson, who was a PhD and has a distinguished researcher and professor at the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research. The author quoted Dr. Johnson saying that regular marijuana use at an early age puts teens at risk for permanent brain damage in adulthood. The author reports that according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, those who began smoking marijuana in their teens lost as many as 8 IQ points between the ages of 13 and 38. And heavy users who smoked marijuana before the age of 18 showed impaired mental abilities even after quitting. I don't know about y'all, but I need all the brain cells I can get. I can't afford to lose 8 points of it. I don't know what it is, but that's a lot to lose. We need our brains. They help us remember things like 5 plus 5. They help us make responsible choices, like going to school. Or when you become sexually active, your brain cells help you remember to use contraceptives so that you don't end up being pregnant or getting someone pregnant as a teenager. What about the fact that drugs are illegal? What do you think happens if you get caught with illegal drugs? It's not just mommy and daddy that are going to ground you. There is a court system specifically for juveniles. Jaloha RC reports in the Indian Journal of Psychiatry in 2017 that adolescents charged with drug-related offenses are referred to juvenile drug courts who assess, refer, treat, monitor, and provide feedback on the process of the young people during regular court appearances. Now, I don't know about y'all, that does not sound like a lot of fun to me. Now, I'm not naive. I know that some of you may have used drugs and that you know other people that are using drugs. I hope that none of you were already addicted to them. But if that is the case, I don't want you to lose hope. Talk to your parents, a friend, a guidance counselor, your doctor. Talk to someone. They will help you be strong enough to move in the right direction to become sober. Bottom line is the only way anyone can guarantee that you won't be one of the 11 people in your graduating class that becomes an addict. You won't lose IQ points. You won't make bad choices and possibly end up pregnant or getting someone pregnant. And you won't end up in juvenile court systems for drug use. Is simply don't do them. Don't do drugs.